Welcome back, guys. Welcome back.
Welcome back from the holiday season.
It has been a week since our little break, and it was a should I say, not well-deserved, what should I say, much-needed vacation.
Things get crazy in the holidays.
Yeah,
and happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope you had a good one.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone who celebrates it. I know not everyone does. But so we are back. This is the Radio Toons podcast, back in full effect. I am Steve.
I'm Ernie.
And we did some shit last week. We did.
Yeah. Like I don't know if how many people bought Skyrim on Switch, because it might be their 15th time buying it.
Yeah. Skyrim came out on Switch last week. Also, LA Noire came out. Did you know that?
It flew under the radar.
Either that or it's not out yet. But I saw the box somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
but I actually don't think it's out until the very end of November.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
either way,
I was actually considering buying it, as stupid as that sounds, because I haven't really played it, but I did play a little bit of it, and it didn't get very good reviews.
No, but I mean, I played it originally on the Xbox 360, and the game looks great.
Yeah.
The city looks amazing. There's a lot of great features of LA Noire.
I just heard there's not a lot to do in that city.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Is the game functions in this weird way where you go from place to place, just like you would in Grand Theft Auto, kind of thing. But there's nothing really to do in the city like there is in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto is full of fucking golf.
Yeah,
or bowling or strip clubs.
Yeah.
You know,
it's I don't know about you, but when I played GTA 5, I feel like if I wasn't here, things would still go on. Because me and my
so it's a very lively city.
It feels like the city's alive. It feels like things are happening outside of your
realm.
Peripheral. It's like things are happening. All of a sudden there might be a car chase, and then you just are kind of a part of it. LA Noire has events that happen that you can go to when they call on your radio.
I do remember that, because one of them was a bank robbery or something.
Yeah.
And it's just shooting.
Yeah.
It's basically just a shootout, which is pretty boring.
Yeah, so it's if you start driving towards... Because every episode happens the same. You go to the place that you need to go to, and then you go back to the station, and then you start calling witnesses and stuff. It's just very... It feels almost like a bare-bone game.
Right.
And then the functionality of... what is it? Interviewing or interrogating? I don't know how you want to call it. Because some of them are just interviews, others are interrogations.
Right.
I couldn't nail the logic to it, precisely. And I went all the way up to, I think it was Vice. You go up to tables.
Yeah, I know people have made fun of this before, but it's it's true. Sometimes you'll put what is it, deny, or
and he'll scream,
and he'll just start screaming at them, and it's I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to say hey, maybe you're not so correct on this thing, or
Yeah, and that's kind of how it felt. I felt like I was failing because I didn't understand, not because I wasn't as good at the game as I was supposed to be.
But also, I really like that time period, and I really like
do too. And
I really like looking at it. So that was one of the reasons why I was maybe I should just bite the bullet and fucking buy it. It's not like I have a shitload of things to play on Switch anyway. It's
well. Here's the thing, right? I think I might have it on Steam. Because I think I might have bought it just because I was I'm going to give this game another chance, but I've never actually played it, so maybe just play it on there a couple times. But the one thing I'll say is you can obviously tell there's a lot of work put into this game, and I really commend Rockstar for doing all that work. But the game to me feels really unfinished.
It was what is it? Bondi? Is that the name of the company?
I think it was.
They made the game, and they don't exist anymore. As far as I think they don't exist anymore. I'm not sure. But it is kind of a shame, because it looks like they put a lot of work into stuff that wasn't necessarily gameplay. The accuracy of old-timey LA. Or the facial recognition, weird... you can spot the micro... What is that called?
The nuances in a person's face.
Yeah, there's a word for it, though. There's a micro expression or something. It's some weird thing, okay, not to get too crazy with this, but... I read something that when somebody lies, there's something called a micro expression, which is an expression that happens within a tenth of a second or something on your face, which is a tell that you are lying or something. and like everyone has it, and it's really hard to avoid. It's basically just a reaction to information or something.
Interesting.
Okay, it's hard to explain, but
no, I mean, I'm sure they took that into effect in the gameplay, and maybe that's what I was. Maybe I didn't figure that part out.
Yeah, but yeah. So I was just interested in it because obviously the time period. So I mean, I have no real review.
To give you a kind of a time period as to when it was released to us, we were still working at G4 when it came out.
Oh yeah,
and
I mean,
Wilshire is a street that exists in the game.
Oh, that's cool.
So you could actually go down the street to where we used to work, and it's like at that point I think it was just houses.
That's pretty cool.
But you could actually drive down. I think it goes down to Brea, so you could almost go to where we worked.
Cool.
But it was like, oh, neat. You could see the old theaters and blah blah blah, and you could see some like places. Like you could go to this train station.
It was also really glitchy, and I really liked that because I love finding game glitches and just like seeing how much I can break the game. But
plus Phelps was a great drawer.
Yeah, he was an amazing artist. Yeah, so Skyrim. Getting back to Skyrim.
Oh yeah, we kind of went on a tangent.
I saw that Skyrim was released on Switch. I said I'm not paying $60 for a fucking $3 game that's been out since 2011.
Yeah.
So I went to my computer and I reinstalled it, and I was like, you know what? I modded the game when it first came out, right?
Right.
But I never really got like too crazy with like HD textures or like lighting mods or different kind of skins and stuff. Like you can get custom armor and stuff.
And that was before you upgraded your PC.
Well, yeah, it was basically like the game came out in 2011, so it was a while ago.
Right.
So I went on like Nexus Mods and I was checking out all the mods they have and stuff. They have not stopped modding that game for the past 6 years.
It's a great game.
The modding community is so fucking strong with that game. Which is also cool because if you know anything about mods, like Fallout 4 and Skyrim run on the same engine.
Yeah. So
a lot of mods were just basically like
moved over.
Yeah, they dragged them and they dropped them into this game and they work. So it's crazy. But Skyrim with like these crazy texture packs. I got like a 2K texture pack.
That's awesome.
The game, like, they have a side-by-side comparison with the texture pack and like the HD version that Bethesda released, and like the HD pack looks better than like the official. It's so crazy, dude. Like all this, like you could make the hair like look all like nice and smooth, like a fucking model or something.
That's crazy.
It's so cool. But like I've been having so much fun just like looking at different like mods and stuff. I have this one that makes the stars and stuff look like extremely clear and HD, and like there's like planets and shit that you can see.
Are you serious? That's cool.
Yeah, on certain days you can see like planets in the distance and stuff like that. It's crazy. But yeah, as far as the actual game goes, I love Skyrim. Skyrim is like Fallout 4. I love Fallout 4.
See, here's a weird thing, and I think people will be surprised. I never played Skyrim.
Right.
I have it over there in my 360 game collection. I have it there. I got it, I think, from G4 when people were tired of using it, and I brought it home, but I never actually started it. So when it came around on the Switch, I'm like, you know what? Like a Fallout type of game, but taking place in medieval times or whatever, and then I can have it on my Switch.
Yeah.
Great. And so far, I've spent about 6 hours in it, and I'm just intrigued by everything in it.
You know, it's funny too because you said that last time too. Is that like the Switch is for the games that like you kind of missed?
But like it's crazy to think that all this is running on the Switch because this is definitely the HD version of the game. Because like I went on Steam this week because they had the sales going on, like this Steam sales going on. Right. Everything's on sale, and I wanted to get the original vanilla Skyrim, not the HD one. They're not selling the original anymore. Like I looked for it, and all they're selling is the HD one. Yeah, and apparently, like the HD one is not as mod friendly as the original. I've heard that.
So people were like every mod now has like a comment that's like, "Is this compatible with Special Edition? Could you make this compatible with Special Edition?" All that. You know what sucks too is that like since they're selling that, right? Special Edition comes with the DLC included, I believe.
Right.
And the Switch version does too. The DLC on Steam is never going to go down in price now. Because you understand what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I get it.
It's like how you were saying the vanilla version isn't available. It's like they're never gonna drop the price of the DLC because why would they have to? Like,
right? Because they're just gonna push you to be like, hey, you could either buy this game and then buy the DLC that still hasn't gone down in price, or buy it all for the same price you'd buy a DLC.
Yeah. That's the only gripe I really have right now is because I really want the DLC because I never got to play it. But it's still like fucking $20
That's highway robbery. They don't have a season pass yet. I remember when that game came out, they didn't do the season pass thing yet.
No, not. I don't think so. Yeah.
But it's been really fun to play Skyrim.
Yeah.
As a person who played Fallout, Fallout 3, and New Vegas, and beat the hell out of them, and then kind of played Fallout 4, I have to say, Skyrim itself feels more like original Fallout, or I should say Fallout 3. Not original, because that one's...
You think so?
Yeah, because the reason I didn't like Fallout 4 is I felt like there was too much to do.
You didn't like it at all?
No. The things I didn't like about Fallout 4, I should say. Things. It was more like Fallout 4, I had all these new responsibilities that I didn't want. Because in Fallout 3, I felt like I was a wanderer. Like, I didn't have to take care of anybody. I didn't have to worry about, like... You didn't
like the build your base kind of stuff.
Well, not only build your base, but you're always like, oh, we got to defend against these people, and then
Preston.
Preston's always got something to do. Like in your cartoon, he's like, I got a new job for you.
Yeah, it's true.
And I was like, this okay. Now I got to clear out another space. Like, I didn't like that. I liked it in Fallout 3 and in New Vegas, where I was doing whatever I wanted.
You know what? Too, it's like it's obvious that you don't have to do that stuff, right? Because
It is, but you feel like a responsibility in the game. It's
that's what I was gonna say. Is that when I do games like this, I like to even have the side missions completed. Like if I take on a side mission, I'm gonna do it eventually.
Right.
And with Preston, it's like I could never have that because there was always something that he would tell me about, or like I honestly think he's programmed that way to always like just trigger a certain side mission, which is really late. Like it's pretty lazy in my opinion. Like,
because it's like. Oh, this amount of missions has been done. So Preston tells you, hey, this village is being attacked. Can you go clean it out?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, these zombies are attacking us. Could you help us out? I was like, I just did this like a couple days ago.
Yeah, it really sucks too. But what's cool about Skyrim, which is like, I guess this is why you're comparing it to Fallout 3, is that there is a couple side missions that are like super memorable, or they're like nothing I've ever played in any other like open world or whatever the fuck you call these like RPG games, RPGs, whatever.
MMORPGs.
Yeah, there's a mission, right? So let me just tell you about this one real fast.
Okay.
For example, there's a village where there's the house that's like locked and kind of abandoned because the family that lived there died.
All right.
So what you can do, you can pick the lock, or pick the lock, whatever.
Okay.
Go inside, and you'll find that there's a kid in there, and he's an orphan, and he's trying to summon some kind of like assassin or something. He has all these candles in a circle, and he has like this like demonic ritual basically.
Right.
When you talk to him, he says like, "Oh, you're the person I was trying to summon, right?" And you can tell him like, yeah, that's me. Like I'm here. Whatever. Yeah. You go on to learn that this kid was the kid of the family that lived there.
Right.
When the family parents died, he got sent to live in an orphanage. The orphanage was like really cruel to him. The head lady there or whatever was like a big bitch, and he didn't like her.
Okay.
So he asked you to go kill her. So what you can do is you can go out there and kill her, and once you do that, you get like a note the next time you fall asleep that says like, "Oh, we know about what you did."
Right.
And it's they're basically telling you stole one of our contracts. This dark brotherhood. This like,
oh yeah, I already ran into them.
Yeah, this like group of assassins basically.
Yeah.
So that leads you into like their whole like guild or whatever and stuff. Yeah. But it's so cool because it's like, man, this is like a crazy story that I just happened upon basically, And I think that's what you really like about those games, right? Is that there's stuff that you can just happen upon, and it turns into like this great like little story that's not even part of the main game. It's just this is side shit.
I don't know if you ran into this, but I was playing the game, and like you said, it's DLC included already, so it operates within the game. And I thought there were like in Fallout and in like certain games, there's what are called safe zones. where when you're there, they don't let you like take out your weapon. You know, it's just prohibited. They say, "Oh, you can't take out your weapon here; it's prohibited." So
you
like,
can take it out, but yeah.
No, I understand, but like playing this game, I thought that was how these towns worked.
Okay, I got you.
And then I came back from a mission, and I had my new girl with me. But then these guys started... Yeah, and these guys started asking questions about me, and they're like, are you Dragonborn? And, like, I'm playing this character, like, totally, naive. So I was like, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
You know, just trying to be as naive as possible. And then they attacked me, and I was like, holy crap. Took them out, found a note on them that said, kill this lady, because I'm playing a lady. It was like, kill this lady because she keeps saying she's Dragonborn. Oh. And that sent me on this whole, like, side adventure... And now I'm in Morrowind.
That's cool.
Which is, like, crazy. Yeah. Because I just happened upon, like, what if I hadn't gone to that town in particular? Or what if I hadn't talked to them?
That's cool.
Because you activate it because they're asking about you throughout the town. Mm-hmm. And then you could... You know how in that game, if you walk past somebody, you can kind of hear them talk?
Yeah.
That's how I was like, oh, we're looking for the Dragonborn. And I walked past, and then I was like, uh-oh. And then so I quick-saved. And then I turned around and talked to them.
That's cool.
But the crappy part is once I quick saved, for some reason that automatically triggered it. So I wasn't able to get away. So I had to face them like two or three times. What you mean,
yeah.
But that's crazy how, like, you're not really safe anywhere. Everything can happen anywhere kind of thing.
Sure, yeah. I mean, there's definitely been times where I've gotten, like, a shitty autosave or quick save where I'm, like, at an enemy that I'm fucked. Like, as soon as the game loads, it's like I'm just dead. Thankfully, that game saves like multiple times, and you can.
Yeah, save. every time I go from like one section to another, it tends to save. I will say, like going into random caves and finding like frostbite spiders.
Yeah.
Like what are those zombie things called? Draughts or whatever.
Oh, those skeleton guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I love killing those dudes. And like I told you this earlier, it was like I keep wandering around because if I see like kind of a shack or a hole in the distance with like a little bit of a fence around it, I was like, that's a thieves' den, and I go in and clear it out.
That stuff is kind of boring to me. Like,
well, maybe it's just because it's new to me, but I love clearing out.
I understand that, and there's always like some pretty good items in there. Mm-hmm. It's the kind of game where you want to have like health items and like any kind of potion and shit like stocked up. I understand that. I was just gonna say this other mission that I just remembered, but
what happens in it?
You're basically at a bar. You go to a bar, and there's a guy there that says he can outdrink you, and so if you get into it with him, like you're like, okay, I can outdrink you, and you start drinking, your character eventually will black out, and then when you wake up, it's basically you retracing your steps. So when you wake up, this lady's just like, I can't believe you're here after what you did last night. And you're like, what did I do last night? And so you have to talk to her. And then, like, there's some places where she's like, I'm not telling you shit unless, you know, you repair the damage that you did or something. So you could pay her off or, like, help her out. And then she'll tell you, like, yeah, you had come from this village over here. So it's like...
You went to multiple places?
Yeah,
Jesus.
So it's cool because you're retracing your steps on, like, this long journey.
This is a bender that you went on?
Yeah. I think it was pretty cool. Because, I was like, man, this is a pretty unique side quest.
That sounds like a Tarantino film.
Yeah. There you go. But yeah, and most side quests like that end up giving you, like, a pretty good item at the end. So.
Yeah, so far, like, every time I've done any kind of side mission, main missions give you the best stuff, but, like, the side missions have always been worth my while.
Yeah.
You know, like, the reward matches the amount I had to do.
Okay,
You know what I mean? So it's been really fun, and having it on the go is fantastic, because
it seems like a good game to have, just, like, any time.
But it's so cool, because, like, if I need, like, for example, if I wanted to play, let's say, Fallout, I start my computer, I load up the game, and then play it, and then I gotta save, shut down my computer, right? With the Switch version, as long as you don't go into another game, you just pop right back into the game.
No, yeah, it's cool. It's
just great. Easy. And if you want to switch to the TV, boom, it's in
the
the
TV. The only gripe I have with, like, console versions of those types of games is that they always have horrible load times.
Yeah.
Like Fallout 4, I remember I was playing at my friend's house. He had it on PS4. And it took fucking forever for him to quick travel somewhere. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. And it was the same thing with Phantom Pain.
The load time for me, as long as I've already started the game and it's going, the load time in the very beginning to load the game is awful.
That's the worst one?
That's the worst one. After that, not as bad as I thought it would be. And that's saying something, because it's a handheld.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what's funny, too, is I remember everyone I talked to when the game was new. I was like, oh yeah, I came upon this guild called the Thieves Guild. Everybody I talked to, oh yeah, I did that one. Oh yeah, I did that one. I did the Thieves Guild. Oh yeah. So, if you're going around Skyrim pickpocketing or sneaking around and killing people, I guess it's not the most original thing to do. Because, yeah, everyone I ran into, they're just like, yeah, I have the Thieves Guild, armor and all that shit. So this time, I tried to go a different route and all that. That's why this time I'm doing this Dark Brotherhood guild kind of thing. Their focus is assassinating people.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. The only thing that kind of sucks is that, like, there are missions where it's like, no matter how fucking sneaky you kill somebody,
everybody
guards will always get triggered. Yeah, it's just automatic. I even, like, there was a point where, like, okay, so on PC you can just go into the console,
right,
and enter console commands and, like, kill somebody via just, like, a command. And I was just like, you know what? I've done this, like, so many times. There's no way I haven't been caught. I'm just going to, like, point at this character and type in kill and see what happens. And sure enough, the guards get triggered. So it's like, it's just programmed to, like, always. Yeah, which is, I'm kind of like, well, why wouldn't you just let me do it stealthy if I earned that? But, whatever.
I kind of ran into that problem in Fallout 4 because, like, I remember there was this sweet thing where if you got your sneaking ability really high and you waited till a certain hour, you could assassinate somebody in their sleep by putting a grenade in their pocket.
Yeah,
and, walking off.
Yeah.
But as soon as it explodes, I mean, yeah, you kill that guy, but they're obviously running around trying to find you because they're, like, alerted to you. So they still come and try and get you.
I see what you mean. Yeah. It's like you're miles away, but somehow they're...
It's like, oh my god, it was him. It was like, how did you know it was me?
Not to mention when when that happened, I have, like, a companion with me.
Oh, yeah.
The companion will automatically attack the guards.
Yeah.
So even if I'm just standing there, like, minding my own business, my companion will jump in and try and save me.
So far, my companion is just bait. My best companion has been in Fallout 4, and it was the lady with the robot arm. She was the best. She just go up and punch the bejesus out of people.
You know what's crazy is, I told you my game is heavily modded.
Yeah.
They make fully voiced companions via mods.
So
I'm playing with a companion called Sophia, and it's this girl character that's been fully voiced by an actress, and she has, like, how do I say, she's, like, context sensitive. So if you're on a certain mission, she'll say something about that mission. So, like, that one that I was telling you about where I got drunk and I blacked out, she's like, oh, I've been there before, blackout drunk, or something like that. Like, she'll just say something that goes along with what's happening.
Somebody programmed this?
Yeah, I was like, man, this is amazing. Dude,
is this one that you have to buy, or is this a free mod?
It's a mod, dude. You don't buy mods.
Well, hey, listen. The landscape of mods and DLC has changed, so I don't think that's such a stupid question for somebody who's not into that.
Oh, you know yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to get into it, but paid mods were a thing for about 1 second.
Yeah.
And then they realized...
A yellow scorpion and a red scorpion?
Yeah, and...
Oh, my goodness.
Nope. But yeah, like, her humor is a little bit... I mean, it's written... The guy's not a professional writer, it's just, like... the humor is a bit crass at some points, and it's, whatever, but... I still commend them for, like, fully voicing this character. It's a lot of work to put into this. It's crazy. But yeah, I thought that was neat. And all this shit is, like, yeah, like you said, it's free. Like, get all this crazy shit to add onto your game for free.
Yeah, I mean, I did only a couple of things for Fallout 4. Fallout 3, you could still mod that as well. I just haven't done it because I haven't it's a little harder to turn on my PC as opposed to just turning on my Switch.
Yeah, I know this is kind of off topic, but I'm surprised they haven't done, like, Fallout 4 New Vegas or something in that realm, of, like...
Oh, Fallout... you mean, like... Well, have you played any of the DLC? Because I haven't. I haven't felt the need to go back to Fallout in a while.
You know what? I hope that's not their answer to it,
Could be, because, like, think about it.
DLC existed back then, though, too.
No, yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, for example, Fallout 4's engine was already ready to go. And I have a feeling that they were like, well, what if we just change the landscape a little? And then we add this, like... gangster thing, because, like, Fallout 4...
You mean 3?
Sorry, yes.
You just
3.
made the most confusing statement
Sorry,
ever.
okay, let me rephrase that, and maybe you can edit it later. Fallout 3's landscape was already kind of laid out.
Yeah.
And the assets were there, like, you could see them already having, like, a terrain builder in that game.
Sure.
So they just did that, but they said, you know what we should do though? We should just have this hub of like New Vegas. And that's what the game is centered around, so it's a little easier to get around.
Yeah.
It's like you get sent missions from here. So it feels almost like a DLC pack. But it's like it's just been worked on a little bit more.
Well,
because I think you would agree, New Vegas didn't feel as alive as Part 3.
I thought New Vegas was better.
You thought New Vegas was better?
Yeah, but that might just be because I have, like, since it was later on, I have more memories of New Vegas.
Maybe.
I just remember there was a lot of stuff that I liked about New Vegas. That, like, the hype of it, basically. You know, like, okay, that's a really bad way to describe it. I'm sorry, but the game starts you off in, like, the outskirts, like, really far away from New Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it's on the cover of the fucking box. That's where you want to get to.
Right.
And constantly, like, as you're traveling, you see it in the distance. It's there.
It's like the hub.
Yeah, you want to go there, you know. And then once you get to like the place around it, like the outskirts of town around it, you realize it's not that easy to get in there and all this stuff. You have to do some things to get in there. But once you get in there, you know, it's like it's cool. It's like a payoff almost. You know, Fallout 3 didn't really have anything like that. I remember like. That was that whole thing with your dad, which I was like, I don't really care.
It's Liam Neeson.
I just want to kill kids, and they won't let me. But I don't know.
Maybe it was this. Maybe Fallout 3 just felt like. I remember when they advertised it, they used the Wanderer at like that famous
Fallout 4.
That was Fallout 4.
Yeah.
What was the 3 one then? I remember 3 having this like very lone wolf type of advertisement. Like you were like the stranger out in the whatever, and it felt like everything that I had seen in the advertisement was true. It's like you were by yourself in this wasteland.
Well, I will say this: Fallout 3 was the first game for a lot of people, including I think ourselves here.
Yeah.
So that one created definitely a big impact in like.
Well, I wouldn't say it was the first one because I mean, if you're thinking of like an RPG in that manner. Like, wouldn't you consider, like, the the Old Republic, the Star Wars?
Okay, but what I'm saying is that, like, Fallout 3 came out, and I start hearing about it, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
And I look up past Fallout games, and I was like, I've never want to play that.
No.
But, like, Fallout 3 is like, no, it's first person, and you can, like, choose stuff, and you can kill whoever you want, and there's, like...
I guess that's true.
And it was just like this, for console players at least, you know? It's like this brand new concept of a game that like you've never heard about, and to me especially, I was just like, "This is so fucking cool, dude!" Like, because I remember I used to try and play Morrowind back then when we had the original Xbox.
Oh my gosh! All you used to do was steal stuff.
I loved killing people, and in that game they just throw your ass in jail.
Yeah.
There's not really anything you can. I mean, I suppose if you're stronger than the guards, yeah, you can do stuff like that, or if you're not like a fucking 8-year-old kid, you can figure it out.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like Fallout was finally that game where it's like, dude, you can do evil shit and like they'll reward you for it, or like you can get skills based on like your karma and stuff like that.
I guess Fallout was kind of the first time we experienced that, and I think that's why maybe it's in my head it's like
the big one. Yeah, I know what you're saying though, because KOTOR definitely had that. Knights of the Old Republic had that, and then. I swear to God, it was like a trend at that point, because like that game had it, and then Fable had it, right, and then like you know, I there was a lot of examples. I'm not going to be able to name them all here.
Well, but like BioShock had the same thing.
Yeah, BioShock. Like, there was definitely like they just came and went after that.
That concept over and over and over again.
But yeah,
but like I said, like going back to Skyrim, in Skyrim. I think the thing that turned me off about Skyrim was first person. And in this game, I'm playing it all third person because I really can't stand, like, Sword and Shield in first person. I just can't stand it.
There's certain things that I do move the camera out. And it's cool because it's, like, seamless. It's really easy to go in and out of first person in that game.
I agree. But in Fallout, I always felt like first person was the way to go.
Yeah. You're right.
But, like, Fallout had that AP mechanic. The action points thing. Yeah. I like that, and it's missing from Skyrim because
it's basically the same thing. Your stamina.
No. Wait, what do you mean? Because maybe I haven't figured this out because like the action points are like you.
It's essentially VATS.
Yeah. I can do that in this game. I can VAT something.
Not really, but
that's what I mean. Like I know I have stamina. Like I can only swing.
You have your charged swing.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what it is.
And the crit attack.
The critical attacks are identical to fucking Fallout, where like it zooms out and like they'll do some crazy like axe chop or something. You know,
which I still. I've been killing a lot of things lately, and that's still cool to me.
I think if I'm being completely honest, I think they look pretty bad. There was like, what did I kill the other? I killed like a tiger the other day, saber-toothed tiger or something, and like it just looks so static and like stiff, like the animation of me like chopping into its head and stuff, and I'm like, whatever. I
like that it changes depending on what you have.
Bethesda's a company that's worried about quantity over quality. You know, if I
haven't played enough to assess that so far.
I'm not trying to do like a backhanded compliment kind of thing, but it kind of is because I made the fucking cartoon. It's a glitchy ass game, like they're not like refined, finely tuned games. It's not like they're made by Nintendo where they're like super polished and all this shit, But by the way, too, have you tried out that Zelda stuff?
No, not yet.
There's like secret items, or I should say like amiibo exclusive items that you can get in the Switch version of Skyrim, which is like Link's tunic from
and you know what? As soon as like we went like over Black Friday, I was able to get the Link Arrow amiibo. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to try this at home. But as soon as I got into the game, I was like, wait, first let me do this, and then first let me do that, first let me do this, and I was like, I was in a cave, and I was like in the very beginning of the cave, and then I got to the bad guy in the cave where he like, I don't know if you've experienced this, but he's like this mega zombie guy, and he kicks open his coffin. He's got like 5 zombie guys with him. Oh yeah,
and see that's cool the first time, but but unfortunately that happens a lot more times, and they just give him a different name.
And well, this time, like I've experienced the first time, I was like, let me just get through this tunnel, and then as soon as I get out, I'm like, okay, let me just go back, and then I'll do that. Like it gets lost.
No, it's like an ADH person's dream. That game, because you really don't have to focus on anything at one time. Nothing's timed based. Mm-hmm. It's not Dead Rising where if you don't do this right away, somebody dies. Oh
my gosh! I was so tempted. Speaking of Dead Rising, I was so tempted to buy Part 4, but I hear just absolutely horrible things about it.
Not to get too off topic, but yeah, that game went down to like $10 so fast.
Like the Super Ultra Deluxe, whatever they call it. You know how now games come out in like waves of 5? So like there's Dead Rising 4 Standard Edition.
Oh my god.
And then there's like Definitive, then there's Ultra, and then there's Complete.
Look.
And all 4 of those, the last one, the one that has everything, DLC, Season Pass, all the costumes, blah, 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 that's $50.
You know what,
and then the original one is like $20. It's just like, that's so sad.
I'm not trying to make a huge statement here on this, but I hate that so fucking much. Like nowadays, it's like, you told me the other day, I got Street Fighter 5 for like $5 or something.
No. I told you Street Fighter 5 went down to like $10. On Steam, and I was like, it was almost enough where I was like, I should just buy it. I should just get Street Fighter 5.
If this was like 2010, you would get the whole game for that price.
Dude, yeah.
But nowadays, it's like, you bought that. It doesn't come with all the extra characters because Street Fighter 5 has like 10 new characters or something like that. I'm exaggerating. There's a lot of new characters there. So especially for a fighting game like that, it's like, that's just unacceptable. Right. You can't fucking play with like half of the cast. Like, how are you even going to practice this game if you want to get good at it? Like...
I remember when, I think this was something that Capcom tested out on 4. So remember there was 4, and then there was Super Street Fighter 4, and there was Super Street Fighter 4 Ultra.
Yeah.
Right? But it was cool that if you had the original, you could get the newer game at a reduced DLC price. Remember?
Yeah.
And then you would just load up the game, but it would load up as Ultra.
Right.
And then they gave you Arcade Edition like as a bonus for buying the game. Remember? Because I didn't have to buy the newer versions as I went along.
I don't remember, but I just know that people were still playing... They were still using their Super Street Fighter 4 disc and playing like AE 2012.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's like as long as you bought the game, the newer version, you still got all the characters, even though they didn't release them. because it was just one big price.
I know, but it's just that's what I mean. Is like I hate seeing games that I'm like, oh fuck, I wanted to play that game, and now it's only like $5, but it turns out, oh yeah, this is like
that's the base game.
This is the most vanilla version of this game,
right.
And it doesn't have all the shit that everyone's using nowadays, or like.
And like I was like, I'll say this, I bought 4, and then I bought the arcade edition or whatever it was called to get the new characters. And I was like, you know what, 2 purchases, like a year apart. I was like, I can do that to add more characters, more stages, and everybody's up to date.
No, right? Exactly. Street Fighter V like had season 2 without even like a year going by, I think.
But that's what I mean. It's just like make it easy for me to get on everybody else's level. Like for example, when they released like Ultimate Marvel, the one before this last one. Yeah. It was like it was like 4 DLC characters that everybody had to get, but each DLC character was like $5. Yeah, it was like Jill, and then it was that squid thing. That was it. And it was but it was only like 2. But I was like, that okay.
Well, yeah. In that game's defense, though, nobody used those characters, and if you didn't have them, it doesn't really matter.
I get it, but it was like, why would they even do that? Why not? Why bring just 2 DLC characters? Why not make the same move that you did with Street Fighter 4 and add like a whole new version of the game the next year, and to keep it fresh, you know?
Well, it's 6 months apart. That is also like a fucking mess. I'm not even gonna get into it, but yeah, like Vanilla Marvel came out 6 months later. Ultimate comes out, and you still need to buy DLC. Those 2 characters were still locked if you didn't buy them, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and to bring it back to Skyrim, it's like it's cool that they have a definitive edition now. But you're right, I'm getting really tired of having 5 different editions of the same game. No,
and it is cool, like, that older games like that get packaged as, like, okay, now you can have the complete edition. Right. Because even with, like, Smash Brothers, I hate that it's, like, if I were to recommend Smash Brothers to somebody, they would go out and buy the game, and they load it up, and they're going to say, like, where's Cloud? And it's like, oh, you gotta buy he's Cloud. Extra. So it's, like, on top of already spending money... Yes. It's just a shitty way to live now. Like, I hate that so much.
It's funny. It's funny that you say that because Nintendo's never released they're not gonna release a like Smash Brothers Ultimate Edition with everything on
Supposedly it. They're supposed to do that for
the Switch. Yeah, but like again, this is the Switch mantra. Is it just to re-release old games? I mean, I'm sure people will appreciate that now you can have Smash Brothers on your Switch, but like. I don't know. I'm getting tired of that.
I know. It's like I have it on 3DS, and I spent all the money for the DLC on 3DS as well.
Well, it was good because if you bought it on Switch, if you bought it on Wii U, you got it for the 3DS as well.
You had to pay more. Huh? You had to pay more.
Just a little bit more. Just a little bit more.
No, but you know, it particularly Smash Brothers is the one that gets me because it's like Mario 3D World. You buy that game, you get everything. Everything is in the fucking box.
Mario Odyssey, same thing.
Yeah, Mario Odyssey, everything's in the fucking box. And it's like, even like Zelda Breath of the Wild, it's like, the DLC for it is not something that's like ridiculously cool. No. You know, it's just extra shit. Yeah, but like, for the most part, you get a pretty, like 100 hours game in a box, you know?
I would say that's a complete game, and the rest of the stuff is like cool things to do in Hyrule.
Yeah. Yeah. You know that game Fortnite?
Yeah.
So the Battle Royale is free, right?
Right. I've been playing that like crazy.
I looked it up on PlayStation Network because I was like, I keep hearing a lot about this game. They have a version that's $189.
What do you get with that?
How the fuck does that even make sense? What is that? What exactly are they giving you clothes or something with it? Like... All of it is digital, by the way. It's all on the store.
Yeah,
it's called a limited edition.
From what I understand, like when I go into they've made like since I've been playing for the last like 2 months, right? Okay. Every time me and my friends jump on there to play, we just play the Battle Royale, and recently they added a store where you could buy like the way the game is played. You're dropped into this zone from like this flying machine. Okay. And when you dropped in, you open a glider, and so like there's 5 different gliders. And 5 different shirts that you can get. It's all cosmetic crap. Oh, okay. Nothing that actually affects the game.
Well, that's fine.
So, I mean, if you buy a $180 version of the game, you get to dress your character up.
I don't mind that. Because that's the kind of shit that I don't mind in Overwatch. It's like, it doesn't
change. Pay real money for it, though, that's kind of like, ugh. I hate that.
No, it is a little. That's what I'm saying. It's like $189. I couldn't even believe that price tag. It's like what exactly?
And according to sources, isn't that thing going like free in December?
I don't know.
I think it's going free to play in December.
Probably. I mean, it looks like a free to play game. No offense to like the developer.
No, hey, it looks very like what is it? Everything's pretty simple in terms of
it's like cell shaded, right?
No, not cell shaded, but it's like flat matte color kind of thing. But like the battle royale is already free, but they said like the main game is going free in December because I guess they'll have enough subscriptions. I don't know, but it's like it's one of those things where I don't get what exactly we're paying for.
It's crazy too because it's like it reminds me of like it's like arcades, but like the worst version of arcades. You know, where like you go into an arcade and you exchange your money for like these tokens that you can only use at this location.
Oh,
but like in this reality or whatever you want to call it, it's like I don't know. It's just so much worse. Like at least at an arcade, I'm playing multiple games and I'm playing stuff I like, and I don't like that they took that concept and they like put it into this evil fucking like a weird free to play game thing. I hate that so much. Even like I play this game called Paladins every once in a while, and
I have that on Xbox.
It's basically like a fake Overwatch. Yeah, it came first. Whatever. I don't care. Whatever. But it has 4 different types of currency in game. 4 different types of currency.
Nah.
Why? Yeah, exactly. I'm like looking at all these skins and stuff, and I'm like, how do I buy it? And there's like all these fucking different little icons there. I'm like, you know what, dude?
No.
Fuck off. Like, there's no way I'm gonna do this. I just want to play this game. Whatever. Anyway, sorry. We went a bit off track there.
Well, the other thing we did, at least one thing that you ended up finishing was we watched Punisher on Netflix.
Yeah. You were pretty far into it when I saw you watching right now.
Yeah, I'm at episode 11. I'm about to start that one, and there's only 13, so I'm getting pretty close to the end.
Yeah. I don't even know if we should talk about it this week because you're not at the end, which is kind of like the big finale. The big finale. All I'm gonna say is that guy Micro. I love that man. I'm in love with that man. Everything about his face. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because he reminds me of Gene Wilder, and I really love Gene Wilder. They have like kind of the same like
hairstyle.
Yeah, their hair and their eyes, and they have like a sad puppy dog face all the time.
I can see that.
I don't know what it is, but him and the Punisher have such a good contrast. It's so cool. I love seeing them interact, and one of my favorite parts is actually so Micro's tied up to the chair.
Yeah, right? This node.
This is slight spoilers. Micro's tied up to a chair, and he keeps having to enter this code. Mm-hmm. And then like one of the last times he does it, he pulls out a needle and he sticks Frank.
Right.
Puts him to sleep, and he was like, it was all based on that concept that Frank was trying to use to intimidate him. When he says like, oh, it's all about repetition. It's all about getting them comfortable. Like this is what torture is. It's like getting to know, realizing the fact that like this is how you're gonna live from now on, whatever.
So that things become automatic.
Yeah, he uses that against Frank, and I'm like, that's so cool. Just because that's how Micro would escape that interaction. That's how he would get out of that situation, with his smarts, not with like some kind of weird brute force thing. He uses his smarts. I don't know. I really like that.
Shows how clever he can be.
Yeah, and it plays to his character, and it makes him feel like he's a real person, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, to be honest, the best part of this show has been the very beginning where it starts off is very much my favorite because of how they transition from Daredevil to this to Frank trying to lead, quote unquote, a normal life.
Yeah, so this takes place after
Daredevil.
After Daredevil, right? And he's retired, the Punisher, basically. Right,
because and this is another set of spoilers if you don't know. At the end of Daredevil, Punisher uses this, or I should say, Frank Castle says he's going to take down everybody who took down his family, which was these 3 gangs.
Uh-huh.
Right, and so he creates this, this bulletproof vest, and he draws the skull on it, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the symbol that carries him into this first episode.
Oh, that's right. The first episode has like a little epilogue.
It's a montage.
It's of him killing people and stuff.
It's great because they do two things to bridge the gap between these two things. Or if you don't know, it becomes a character trait for him, which is the Punisher skull and the kind of the covert op kind of thing. But the other thing is he does that little mantra that he always talks, like before he kills anybody, he needs to relax himself.
That little story or whatever.
That little rhyme that he used to tell his little girl.
Yeah.
So that becomes like a little centerpiece for that. And so he goes through and kills it's quite a task because he kills everybody who was every member of the gang that was involved in his family's death, right? And then after that, he literally just burns the suit. And he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
But he's never done because his family always haunts him. But he tries to normalize his actions by working construction.
Yeah.
And it's great because they show a lot of him using the hammer, right, to take out his aggressions.
Yeah.
And then later on, like they almost I swear it was like shot for shot the same thing when he's like busting over somebody's head with the same hammer.
Yeah, you know what's cool is actually that first episode is a pretty good intro, I would say. That first episode really caught me right away.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about this show honestly because the promotional material made it look like fucking garbage. There was these screenshots that they had of this show that I was like,
yeah.
That I was like, man, this looks really bad.
We had that conversation, I remember, because it was Entertainment Weekly had released stills of like people taking production stills, and he looked so damn goofy in it.
Yeah, I was like, man, I hope that's not real, and it was real, and you know, whatever.
But it looked way better than the one in the shop because remember it was all. Like the shot in particular that you're talking about,
post movie magic.
Because it was much darker, and it was in the scene we saw was the one with him in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my god.
And that was the one that you were like, "This looks so dorky." It's like, no, it'll look good. Trust me, it'll look good, and it did. It
did look much better.
One thing that I'll say, which I mentioned to you at the first time I saw the intro to Punisher, is they did a fantastic job setting the mood with that song, because Frank West
did the intro song or what?
Yeah, the intro song.
The intro's pretty good, I gotta say. I like it
because, like with Daredevil, they did a great job in setting up the premise because they used the motif of being blind, and the red for the devil, but also the heartbeat.
Yeah,
like
they
all those themes kind of led you into the whole.
It's cool, yeah.
It gave you the mood for the whole entire thing, and this one was the same thing with Frank, because the whole thing is very. Like, the intro is very staticky. There's a lot of noise in it.
Yeah, it's grainy. It's black and white.
Exactly.
Like
but
gun smoke and all that stuff.
It represents a lot of what's in the show, like Afghanistan. And then, like, the noise of politics and how everything's super distorted. It has...
Alright, sure. I didn't get that from it.
Well, here's the thing. Like, the themes throughout the whole show is, like, corruption, obviously. Afghanistan. And then PTSD is a huge theme.
I'm kind of surprised they even went in that direction, because there's parts where there's, like, a guy who's all pro-gun.
Yeah.
And he kind of comes off as, like, an idiot. Not well, I don't know. He might come off like that, whatever. But it's just, like, I didn't think they would go that political route at all, basically, and they kind of did.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. But... I actually think that this show is one of the better Marvel shows because it looks like they used all of their time wisely. If that makes any sense. They really did.
Each episode feels like it's completely integral to furthering the story.
Yeah, they don't really waste time.
They don't waste any time. Because at first, there were side stories where I was like, what is this? And it's just interesting enough to keep you like, okay... This episode we're going to focus only 2 minutes, but then those little segments got bigger and bigger, and then you realize, oh shoot, I get why they spent so much time.
Yeah, and that I know what character you're talking about in particular, and it's so. I love how they pay that.
We'll talk about that next time because there's more to it, and I have a feeling there's gonna be a mention of it at the end, and I want to save it for then.
Yeah, and that's more or less what I'm saying is like. They use their characters wisely too. They don't introduce characters that just don't do shit.
Right.
They all play an integral part of this like grand story. It's
and just to finish off my thought about the intro, the black and white nature of the beginning. Okay. Sorry, I just really like the intro because it's all like to theme, which is really hard to do sometimes because somebody could just make a Defenders intro and it's like, hey, look, it's 4 colors, it's 4 people.
Yeah,
great, you know. This one's very like really, really well thought out because it's Punisher. You could have done bullet wounds, you could have done blood, you could have done this and that. They decided to stick with black and white because that's how Frank sees the world. But then it's all distorted, right? With all this other crap. The last thing I'll say about the intro is the music is old Western cowboy, which I think is how Frank sees the world. He's kind of like an old school cowboy that's like...
Yeah, he's like a vigilante.
A vigilante, but it's like Wild West justice, you know, an eye for an eye. Yeah. Kind of like if you've ever played Red Dead Redemption, any kind of Western game like that, it's always like eye for an eye, you know, you owe me this, you deserve to die, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it was unintentional that, you know, during this big gun scene, they show him like from the ground up when they're kind of revealing him, he has a sidearm. Yeah. Just kind of hanging off his leg. It's like, this guy's an old school cowboy. Yeah. And they show him with a guitar, and it's just like that Western theme about vigilante justice just rides through the entire series.
No, you're right. It definitely does have that vibe because he's a guy that takes matters into his own hands. If that's what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's great because the series really rides that line of. So far, it's been like, is he a vigilante or is he doing what everybody is too scared to do?
That's what's cool about him is like the what am I trying to say? Like the ambiguity of his morals, right? Is like you never really know. Is like, does he really have good intentions this whole time, or is he just a fucking psychopath?
Right.
That's everyone. That's what everyone thinks about. Like the whole show basically is. Right, can we trust this guy and all that?
And what you were saying before, like Karen, like for example, all the different characters they bring in, they all question his morality on every single. Like they're real people because they all question his morality, no matter what.
Yeah.
I have a couple of gripes with it.
Okay. Let's hear them.
The agent, I always forget her name, but I think it's Dina or.
Dina Madani, I think her name is
something like that. The lady who gets promoted to like in Homeland Security.
Right, I know who you're talking about.
Her whole like family situation storyline that they tried to start about her being lonely and then she falls in love with Russo for like she starts having sex with Russo. I didn't know what that was about.
Yeah,
it felt like okay, we need a sex scene. Great, throw in a sex scene. But it felt unnecessary. I don't know what she got out of it.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I'm not gonna say that all gets wrapped up in the end, or that you're gonna, you know, totally
it's already,
turn around your opinion on her or anything like that. But I can see how you say that.
But it's not a question of whether or not, it's not. I don't want it to be misconstrued as she's a woman, she shouldn't be having sex with whoever she wants. She can have sex with whoever she wants. That'd be fine. But if it was Frank. And he got involved with someone and started having sex with them for no other reason than he wanted to have sex, I'd be like, what is this? Like, this doesn't belong in this story.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, her doing that would just seemed a little like, don't waste my time. Like, there's other stuff we could be doing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, people like sex scenes, so I guess that's...
Well, I'll say this about her. I really like that scene where she's, like, what am I trying to say? She's trying to chase Frank in a Mustang.
Right.
And he's also in a Mustang.
Yeah.
I really like the imagery there. She has like an old school, like, I think 1975 or something Mustang. And it's blue. And Frank is in like a stolen, brand new red Mustang. It just looks cool how they're like, you know, like I'm not a huge chase scene kind of guy, but just the imagery there was kind of cool. It was like, all right.
You realize why Frank was going to hit her, right?
When?
Well, in that particular scene, he's trying to distract her. That's why he picked a red car.
Okay.
So he wanted to be able to be spotted easily, so that if they wanted to follow somebody, they'd follow the big red car, instead of the beat up old white van.
Right. Okay.
Okay. The reason that like when they got to start playing chicken, the reason he was going to hit her is he has an airbag, and like all these safety features in his new car. She has basically a death trap.
Sure. I mean.
He was going to hit her because he had airbags.
Okay, I mean, that's up for debate, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, think about it. Like, that old Mustang didn't have any kind of safety features other than a seatbelt.
No, I know. That's true. It's like, I always hear that cars that were made, like, in a certain time period are just death traps. Because, Because they were made with like they're not all plastic, they're all metal, and like they'll just mess you up if you're inside of that vehicle.
You know, Frank always takes like he says it several times in this one and in Daredevil. He's like, pain is something you can get used to. Mm-hmm. So he's not afraid to crash or get thrown into something or take a bullet.
Yeah. Because
he knows he'll survive it.
Yeah, but that was one of the scenes I liked with her, and later on she's in a couple gunfights. But yeah, I'm not gonna say she's the best character ever or anything like that.
No, she's a fine character. I like her character. I have no gripe with her character. Just certain parts of that I didn't like.
Well, so I guess we're gonna talk about that more next week if you want. Whatever.
Yeah, I'll give you the full series thing because like I wanna watch these last 2 episodes and something tells me it's gonna be real good. But
I did watch a movie this week. I watched Baby Driver. Went to Target and got that Black Friday deal. That movie. I'm not gonna. No, I liked the movie, but that movie was so fucking overhyped. It's ridiculous. Everybody was telling me that movie is like gonna change my life, and it's amazing, and I liked it, but I don't think it was fucking amazing by any stretch of the imagination. Like
who was the director again? Edgar Wright.
Yeah, it's Edgar Wright, so it's got that kind of like a
hot fuzz.
Well, how would I describe Edgar Wright movies? They're fun-filled, action-packed. They got a lot of adrenaline in them. They're always moving. They're fast-paced. Right. Kind of. The concept is this guy named Baby who drives, and he's like it's like a heist movie, which I didn't know. Which immediately I was like, I don't like this. I'm not super into like heist films where it's like, let's rob this bank, but we're gonna be badass doing it, kind of thing. But that's kind of what it is. It's obviously more than that. It's shot really well, and there's some really cool like there's a scene in the beginning where he's walking to get coffee, and it's all one long shot, and there's like the lyrics to the song are on the walls sometimes, and it looks really like stylized. It's very cool.
I heard, like, not to interrupt too much, but like that's what I heard about the movie. Was they were like, it's shot in a really cool, musically timed way, and it's awesome because of that. Like, nobody's ever done it.
Well, I don't know if you're going to watch the movie or not. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I will say that, like, I feel like they started out like that, but towards the end of the movie, I was like, what happened to the music? Like, I thought you guys were doing, like, a music video thing here.
I mean, I heard it, like, when it came out, it was all hype. But the hype seemed to die down pretty fast after the movie came out.
Well, I'm not going to say it's a bad movie. I would.
I'm not saying it is either. I'm just saying, like, whatever like, praise it got, it kind of died out pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to watch it again just to make sure I'm not being, like, a dick about it.
You don't really like heist movies, though.
Yeah, I know, but it just... I don't know. That's what I'm saying is, like, it was so overhyped. I'm like, if I tell people that I thought it was good, are they gonna beat me up? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, are they not gonna take me seriously as somebody who likes movies? Or, like...
No, I think you'll be fine. It's just, it's one of those things that, like... Maybe it's polarizing. Maybe maybe it's one of those things that you either love it or you hate it.
Well, I'll say this. I don't really watch a lot of things with Jamie Foxx in it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't watch Django or like, what is he in? Like, I think he's in some other Tarantino movies.
Yeah, but he was in Law Abiding Citizen.
Okay,
he was really good in that. He's put in the right role. Jamie Foxx does a really good job.
I was just gonna say in this movie, I was like, dude, he was fucking good.
Yeah,
I was like, he plays like a badass kind of like gangster dude. Mm-hmm. Like, really well, I think. I was like, holy shit, this guy's for real. Like, I want to check out some of his other movies. And John Hamm, too. John Hamm is, like, not your typical John Hamm in this movie. He's more, like, villainous. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm used to kind of him being, like, the smiley villainous kind of guy. And this one, he's more, like, he gets kind of psychopathy villainous.
Oh, wow.
Which is, like...
Okay.
Yeah, which is, like, dude, this is cool. Like, I like this guy now.
That guy has a lot of range.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm realizing now.
Because most people know him from Mad Men, mm-hmm. where he plays this morally ambiguous character.
No, that's what I mean. It's like right? he's probably...
But I got introduced to him through 30 Rock.
Oh, okay.
And he plays this...
That's what I mean. He's just like a nice, attractive dude.
Yeah, he's just like in 30 Rock. He's this really goofy, good-looking dude.
Or like even in Toast of London, he's in one of those episodes, and he's just like a good-looking dude. Yeah. That's like his whole shtick, and I'm like, okay.
I forgot because like the running gag in Toast of London is once his agent asks him, "Have you ever heard like you're gonna be in with?" And they name a famous actor, like a really famous actor,
and he'll always say,
"Who's that?"
Yeah, he'll always say,
"I've never heard of them."
Yeah. But John Hamm, he's like, "Oh, I've heard of that guy," or whatever. Anyway, but yeah, so I would recommend Baby Driver if you can find some way to watch it. It's pretty good. It's entertaining. But what do you think? Are any final thoughts?
On everything or Baby Driver?
On everything. No, I would actually recommend it to you too if you want to talk about it next week or something.
Yeah, actually, that'd be a great idea. I would say there's plenty of stuff to watch on Netflix right now. I would definitely not watch Punisher in The Office though, because there's a lot of gore, but the gore is very prevalent to the story. I don't think it's in excess.
So don't watch it at work.
Don't watch it at work. Don't watch it in front of small children.
Okay.
Scar them.
Gotcha.
Great series so far. And I'll also say, if you've never played Skyrim, I think the Switch version is a great entryway to it because you could take it anywhere, play it at your leisure, and you don't have to worry about starting up a whole console to play it.
Yeah, I would say,
great.
If you have a Switch, you like Fallout 4, why don't you pick it up? It's got the DLC, it's got all that shit. I would recommend The Punisher highly. And Baby Driver as well. I would say, why not check it out? See what you think. See if the hype is real, or if it's not.
Really quick, what's the car he drives? Is it a Lancer? I heard it's a.
He steals cars.
Just steals them? Which is the red car he drives? Is it like a Subaru?
It is a Subaru. You're
there
right.
You go. Yeah.
Why is that the one they use for the poster and stuff?
No, it's just I like that car.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just like that car because it has like all-wheel drive, which is why he can like...
No, you know what, too? That first scene, man, the first scene of this movie is really powerful. There's just a couple parts in this movie where I'm like, this is a little bit long. This movie, like, And
I think you saw that, too, because you're coming off The Punisher where they use all their time very, very well.
You know what? It's just like, when you're watching a movie and your body knows that it's been an hour and a half.
And that's how you know it's not a great movie.
No. And I'm not saying that's bad, but it's just
but like when I watched Avatar, I was like, dude, is this movie over yet?
Avatar? Oh yeah, it's like and like that was back when 2-hour movies were like a big, crazy thing. Yeah. Now it's like the standard. That's what I'm saying is that like I'm watching this movie and I'm like, it's been an hour and a half and this shit is not wrapping up. This shit is like in the middle of some...
It was one of the... You know what other movie I did that on? And like people jump all over me when I say The Dark Knight isn't a perfect movie, but I go like, dude, is this not over yet? Because like the part with the two boats or whatever, that part, like when that part starts, I was like, there's a whole nother plot to this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not. That's a whole other fucking podcast, I guess. But yeah, let's.
We gotta tease them.
Yeah. Let's just make the movies an hour and a half again, yeah.
Dumbo style.
Because 40 minutes, it's just a long whatever. Yeah. But we'll talk about it next week. So that's it for this week, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys.